Hello and welcome to this week's edition of the Good 5 Cent Cigar Newscast. I'm Nathan Robillard. Thank you so much for joining us. This week, we'll explore commuting issues at URI, check in with political science professors about the upcoming presidential election, take you to the construction of the new Fine Arts Center, and of course, Zach Petrick will have all things Rhody athletics covered in this week's Rhody Sports Corner. With students officially flooding back to campus during the first month of the semester, that means the fight to find parking every morning is on. Morgan Judd took to campus this week to talk to students about how commuting concerns on campus are affecting them.
On a rainy day like today, it's crucial for URI students to find a good parking spot when walking to class. However, we are only 4 weeks into the semester and students have been talking about a possible parking issue on campus. Let's go see what a few students have to say.
I think the parking at URI could be a lot better. It really sucks for commuters. And I have to show up like an hour before my classes in order to find a place. So no, it's really not enjoyable. So I think it could be a lot better.
I believe URI's parking policy should be extended to freshmen, meaning freshmen are allowed to park their cars on campus too.
I have commuter friends, and sometimes I have to walk very far to the parking lot, like all the way by Boss Ice Arena. So I think more parking spots around campus, and especially in campus, would be helpful.
So yeah, since my freshman year on campus, parking has always been a struggle, to be honest. Walking through campus, there's cars going each way, and honestly, most of the time you have to put like 30 minutes aside to find a parking spot and be able to get to your class on time. That's my biggest problem with parking on campus.
I think it would be nice if there was a larger parking lot that is available to commuter students and closer to the library or closer to some more central place on campus. But as it is right now, I don't hate it.
I'm Morgan Judd with the Good 5 Cent Cigar.
Next up, Morgan also checked in with members of our political science department this week, gaining important insights for students who may be looking for clarity following the first presidential debate earlier this month. Here's what they had to say.
With the presidential election approaching, should students only rely on the information from presidential debates when casting their vote? Political science professor Daniel Carrig shares his thoughts.
So I don't know how much faith I put in the educational value of these debates, right? I invite students, if they get the chance, to go back on YouTube, watch the 1960 JFK-Nixon debate, watch them with 8-minute opening statements, make erudite domestic and foreign policy prescriptions that are nuanced and agree with each other sometimes and disagree other times. Right now, we're down to like 30 seconds to 60 seconds of WWE SmackDown. And so to the extent that's what debates have devolved into, I think you get relatively little policy.
Carrig stresses the importance of students learning more by doing research. Student Senate members Cole Riney and Matthew Kayer explain why students should stay informed.
If you already know what you're going to vote for, it's still good to be informed about their policies and to have a better understanding of the candidate that you're supporting in your head.
It's harder to become informed about a specific candidate because ideally that's what political parties were supposed to be for, so you can get an idea of what that candidate is about. And I think watching the debate is just a good way to see how these people are able to conduct themselves in a professional setting, to see if they're professionally qualified to actually do that position regardless of their policies.
Speaker of the Assembly for the URI Student Senate, Lauren Peckham, shares her thoughts.
Watching a presidential debate, vice presidential debate, it's a good preview, but it's not going to give you enough information that you need. After watching a debate, I highly recommend that everyone go out and do their own research, not only on what each candidate has said, but topics that they're passionate about that may have been addressed or even not addressed. And that way you can personally educate yourself on this party is going to address X, Y, and Z. And I'm passionate about this topic, and are they addressing it? Are they not addressing it?
This is Morgan Judd with the Good 5 Cent Cigar.
Thanks, Morgan. For much of last year, construction for the university's new Fine Arts building was at a standstill. Now, ground has finally broken on the project, and the structure of the new building is starting to take shape. To celebrate, the university hosted a beam signing event earlier this week. Aiden Cahill has more from the event.
I'm here at the University of Rhode Island Fine Arts Center, where construction is well underway in the university's plan to rebuild the center. The beam signing marks a significant step towards the completion of the Fine Arts Center, still due for spring 2025. The ceremony was highlighted by a number of guest speakers, from local politicians to students within the arts program. Governor Dan Mckee spoke about the importance of investment in the arts.
I think it's just a privilege to be able to be here working with leadership, from the president through the board to the, for the professors, and then with the students, to really move URI in a direction that's really helping prepare people, young people for the future. So we have a number of people from URI doing the same thing. So it's a privilege to be a governor, to really focus on those 3 A's, right? Athletics, academics, and the arts.
Student actors Ethan Clark, David Santana, and Princess Johnson spoke about what the new space means to them.
We're very excited to have a new space to be able to work together and perfect our craft, working on voice and body and movement, and just being able to have that creative freedom and to open up and just be together.
Definitely. David and I were also talking about how excited we are to be able to collaborate with the music students as well.
Yes.
And the buildings will be connected, so we can go back and forth as we please. Because for so long it felt like we were kind of isolated from every other arts department. So now to have that bridge connecting, and we have a hub to kind of collaborate with these artists, is such an enlightening feeling and such an enlightening time for young artists.
Reporting from the Fine Arts Center, I've been Aiden Cahill. Back to the studio.
Thanks, Aiden. Looking ahead, here is a look at what's going on this week at URI. On Tuesday from 11:30 to 1:30, a welcome back celebration will be held on the quad for students, featuring music, lawn games, a petting zoo, rock climbing, free food, and much more. Join President Mark Parlange and the entire URI community in celebrating QuadFest. On Wednesday from 11 to 2, the URI College of Engineering will host the Engineering and Technology Career Fair at the Ryan Center. Interested students will have the chance to meet with employers in engineering and technology-focused industries who are looking to hire interns and full-time employees. This event is free to all students. Finally, be sure to make your way to the URI Soccer Complex on Tuesday night as men's soccer opens their home conference slate in a meeting with St. Bonaventure at 7 p.m. On that note, I'll kick it over to Zach Petrick with this week's Rhody Sports Corner.
Thanks, Nathan. Hello and welcome back to the Rhody Sports Corner. I'm Zachary Petrick. Following their 3-2 victory over Boston University, the women's soccer team returned home to kick off A10 conference play. Emma Roberts has the story.
Following their win last Sunday against Boston University, the Rams hope to continue their success on Mental Health Awareness Night in their first conference game against LaSalle University.
Within the first 5 minutes of the game, the Rams came out strong with a good shot attempt from senior forward Tiara Garnice. The Rams remained dominant in the first half with solid defense from defensive woman Ida Name, creating great offense with a solid cross attempt from forward Sam Haggerty, trying to find Tiara Garnice there coming down the middle, but unfortunately just couldn't quite find her. Down the field the other way for LaSalle is Alexis Garcia, but incredible hustle from sophomore Allison Gilbert, clearing the ball just in time. Rams come down the field again with a nice cross attempt from Haggerty going just wide of the net, but freshman Kyra Rice there to clean it up with a nice shot attempt. Great save by LaSalle keeper Michaela Aguadro. Coming in at their third goal attempt of the half, midfielder Christina Salen crosses to Tiara Garnice, who just barely misses right of the goalpost there. Tiara Garnice, barreling down the field, can't quite finish it but rips one right into Aguadro's hands. Going into halftime scoreless on both sides, but LaSalle came into the second half ready with a solid shot attempt from senior forward Haley Gishery, but saved by senior keeper Abby McCarthy. Second half got increasingly more physical. Here's what head coach Megan Jesse had to say.
Yeah, so especially against this team, that's kind of what they're known for, playing direct, being very physical. So it's hard not to, we got to make sure we stay in our game and not, get into what they're doing. I thought we did a great job of winning first balls, competing for second, finding our midfield, and ultimately fighting our forwards and calming down a little bit.
More physicality ensued for the rest of the second half, which didn't stop the Rams from fighting. Courtney Poon passes to freshman Kyra Rice again for a nice game and go with forward Lauren McDonald leading the Rams to scoring their first goal late in the second half. Here's what Lauren had to say about preparing for that moment.
I think just with practice, this week we've been working on
like 1-2 play. So I think definitely that during the week helped us get that connection during the week.
The Rams were able to close the game 1-0 on Mental Health Awareness Night. From the URI Soccer Complex, I'm Emma Roberts.
Thanks, Emma. Men's soccer hosted UAlbany in a thriller on Tuesday. Let's take a look at the highlights.
Jordan Schellenberger misses a chance wide for the Great Danes. Then, on the other end, a cross here finds the head of an attacker for the Rams, but the visitors make the stop and clear the ball away. The Rams then 2 more opportunities to take the lead, but they both fall short. The Rams would eventually take the lead as Isak Oitese would find the back of the net and celebrate with his team with just under 16 minutes to play. Then, just minutes later, Ander Castillo would secure the equalizer with this well-placed header to knot the match at 1. He then sprinted to the Albany bench to celebrate with a knee slide. The goal came with just 12 minutes to play in the game. Back-to-back goals, just minutes from each other. Then for the Rams, Ivan Montoro finds the bottom left corner of the net to give the Rams a 2-1 lead. And that is all they would need. They would come home with a 2-1 victory over UAlbany.
Now let's take a look at some of our other scores around campus. Football traveled to Old Westbury, New York, taking down the LIU Sharks 28-21. Men's soccer fell 2-0 to VCU prior to their victory over UAlbany. Golf placed first of 16 in the Ryan T. Lee Memorial Collegiate in Connecticut over the weekend. Men's and women's cross country competed at the UMass Dartmouth Invitational over the weekend, where the men placed 4th of 44 and the women made the podium, placing 3rd of 45. And lastly, tennis competed at the PC Holy Cross Invite over the weekend. That's all for this week's edition of the Rhody Sports Corner. To stay updated with all things URI athletics, follow us at cigar_sports. Back to you, Nathan.
Thanks, Zach. That's all we have for you this week. Thanks so much for tuning in. Be sure to follow us here and on Instagram at Rhody Cigar, and pick up our print paper anywhere on campus to stay up to date with all your Rhody news. Until next week, I'm your host, Nathan Robillard. This is the Good 5 Cent Cigar Newscast, and as always, have a great week, Rhody.